So for this you need a graph sheet. Okay, fine. So the problem statement is the same thing. So we are supposed to find the blade angles beta 1 and beta 2, and we are supposed to find the whirl velocities VW1 and VW2, and also you can, once you find all those things, you can find the corresponding power, all those things. So whatever we did using the trigonometric principle, whatever maybe from the velocity triangle, we will draw the same velocity triangle in the graphical method using the graph sheet. Okay, let's look into this. So graphical method. So you can adopt any one of this. Either you can go with the trigonometric thing or with the graph thing. So here, so when you're going for the graphical method, I should go with some scale actually. So you should assume, so scale maybe 10 mm is equal to maybe some 50 meters per second or 25 meters per second depending upon the values. Okay, so your whatever the velocity triangle you are trying to draw, that should fit in. Okay, so 10 mm is equal to 50 centimeters is what I am trying to do. So here, so anyhow, I can't draw to the scale and all. What I am going to do actually, so I'll be taking 5 divisions as 1 centimeter. This being a bigger graph, 5 divisions as 10 mm. So 20, maybe 10 divisions as 20 mm. So that's the thing what I have actually here. Here in this particular graph, what I have, maybe in your regular testing. So here 5 divisions is equal to 10 mm. This is my reference scale. See, if you look into this actually, problem statement, I'll go back to the problem statement. You have diameter which is 1.5 meters, speed is around 3000 rpm, alpha 1 they are given the speed ratio 5, they are given the friction factor that is around k is equal to 0.9, and they are told that beta 2 is around 3 degrees less than your beta 1, and the mass flow rate they are given. So other things you have to find. See, once you have this, I can find the u. See, u can be calculated like that. Okay. Then from the given speed ratio, I can calculate your v1. And alpha 1 is already given in the numerical. So with this, I will try to start start drawing my velocity triangle. Okay. So that's as the base. That is u, v1 and alpha. Okay. With that as the base, I will try to draw the velocity triangle. What I will do? What is the value of u? So u is equal to how much is it? U is equal to 235.6. Okay, u is equal to 235.6. So if I try to convert it, so it will be roughly around, so 235.6 divided by 50 if I do, so it's roughly around 4.71 centimeters. So what I will do, I'll try to draw this u. So leave some space. So I'll try to draw here. So roughly 4 divisions. Okay, around maybe 4.6. This is okay, roughly around 4.7. So 4.71 centimeters. So this is my u. So you have to draw to the scale. Now with this as the point, so if I call this as A, let me call this as A, this as B. From B, I'll use a protractor with alpha is equal to what? See, alpha 1 is given in the numerical as 20 degrees. So I will take a 20-degree line from this B and draw a line. Okay. From A, I'm going to take a 20-degree line. I'm going to draw a line. I'll keep it like this. Now then, what is the value of V1? Okay. V1, I calculated from using the pi value. So V1 is 523.8. Okay. So 523.8 divided by 50 meters per second. If I do that, I will be getting around 10.5 centimeters or 105 mm. So what I'm going to do with B as the point, I'm going to use your compass and cut 10 point. Okay, somewhere here is going to get it. Somewhere here I'm going to get 10 point. So 10.5 centimeters. Suppose this is the point what I'm going to get. Okay, from this, so what I'm going to get, this is your V1 and this is your alpha 1 is equal to 20. Okay, now with this particular point, if I call this as C. From C, I'm going to join C and A. That's all I'm going to do. So that I'll automatically get a triangle. So from C, draw a line and join to A. So I got my VR1. What you're supposed to do actually? Measure A and C. Measure A and C. So if suppose VR, so roughly, if I take it maybe around 6 centimeters, you may be getting. Roughly around 6 centimeters if we get it. So 6 into 5, 6 into 50. So 300 meters per second. Okay, that's how you are supposed to calculate. So VR1 is found to be 6.1 centimeters. Convert it to what the scale we have taken, it's 50 meters per second. So 6 centimeters or 60 mm into 50 meters per second, I will get my VR1. You got it? So my inlet triangle, I am able to get it from this methodology. Now I can complete the triangle. I can complete the triangle by closing this particular. So from C, I am going to draw a vertical line to join this particular point. Okay, let me call this as D and extend this particular entire to join D. So if I try to measure this from B to D, this will be my VW1. This will be my VW1 and this is my VF1. Use your protractor and measure this angle, which is beta 1. So I have able to complete my inlet velocity triangle in a graphical method. I repeat once again. First you have to calculate, already you know the value of u is equal to 5dn by 60. You have calculated it. Then you converted that to your scale. I got a value of 4.71 centimeters. So what I will do with some point, reference point, I am going to draw 4.71 centimeters or 47.1 millimeters. So now with P as the point, I will take with alpha is equal to 20 degrees, I will draw a line. Okay. Then what is the value of VR1? VR1 is equal to 523.8. So convert it to, so divided by 50 if I do, I am getting around 105 millimeter or 10.5 centimeters. With D as the center point, I am going to cut, I am going to get a point, what is called as C. So now join A and C to get VR1 and measure that value and convert it to scale, multiply by 50, I will get the value of VR1. Okay, now you complete the triangle by drawing a vertical line from C till it reaches this particular point. It cuts your AB, it has to cut. Okay. Then you measure the point B and D, VW1. So VW1 maybe, so if I try to do it, actually it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7.5 centimeters, 6 point. So whatever it may be, so 65 or 75 mm. So you should draw to the, you have to draw to the scale. So 65 mm or 75 mm, whatever the value you're going to get, measure that and multiply by 50. So similarly measure VF1 and try to convert it to whatever the scale. So if you try to measure it at 10, 20, 30, 38 or 37, multiply by 50. If I do that, I am going to get the corresponding value of VF1. Now once you got your beta, what is your beta 2? Beta 2 is beta 1 you have measured. So beta 1 I may get around 35 degrees, 34 or 35 degrees. So theoretically I am getting 34.93 or something. I round it off to 35. But actually when you are drawing on the graphical set, you may get roughly around 34 or 35. It should not be more than 35 or it should not be less than 34. If you have done if you draw your velocity triangle accurately. So once you draw that, so once you measure this beta 1, so what is your beta 2? Beta 2 is equal to beta 1 minus 3 degrees. That is 34 minus 3 or 35 minus 3, I'll get 32. Now with point A, okay, now with point A, what you are supposed to do? Take 32 degrees or 31 degrees, okay, draw a line. So with 32 or 31 degrees, draw a line. Okay, now what is VR2? VR2 is 0.9 times of VR1. Okay, VR2 is equal to 0.9 times of VR1. What you are supposed to do actually, you have to go and you have to draw a line with beta 2 is equal to, which is 0.9 times of your VR1. So VR1, if I get around maybe 300 meters per second, 6 centimeters. 6 into 0.9, around 5.6 or 5.7. So you take 5.7 or 5.9 centimeters with 32 degrees like this. Okay, like this. This is it, beta 2. Okay, this is my VR2. So now I need to complete it actually. So I need to get V2. So you call this as some point E. Now join B to E. Join B to E. So this will be your V2. That will be your V2. Okay, now complete the triangle by joining a vertical line from this particular point. Draw a vertical line, then draw an horizontal line. So this will be your VF2, and you try to measure this value. This will be your VW2, and you measure this angle, that will be your alpha 2. Okay, so here see, you point mark this point as F. I am able to draw all the whatever I did using your trigonometric principles in a graphical method on a graphical sheet to the scale. Started with U, then V1, then with alpha 1, able to calculate VR1. From VR1, I was able to calculate VR2 with VR2 is equal to 0.9 times of your VR1. Then beta 2 is equal to beta 1 minus 3 degrees. So beta 2 I am able to get it. Then complete the velocity triangle. So VF1, VF2, everything, whatever the thing you measure it. So VW1 also calculate VW1, measure the distance, multiply by 50. So VW2, measure the distance, multiply by 50. Then VF1, measure the distance on your graphical sheet, multiply by 50. So VF2, measure the distance, multiply by 50. So how can I calculate your maybe axial thrust? VF1 minus VF2 into U, sorry, into mass flow rate. So the mass flow rate is going to 6. You will get it actually. So if you want to find the power actually, mass flow rate into VW1 minus VW2 into U. So whatever we did using your theoretical or trigonometric principles, same thing I can obtain using your graphical method. The only thing is actually the graphical method you have to draw to the scale. Is that clear? Is that fine? So same procedure can be adapted. In this particular, based on the data given, I am able to solve it. So maybe some other problem, some other data. So they may be not giving the V1 actually. They may just give the alpha 1 or they may give VR1. So in that case, what you have to do actually, you have to with alpha 1 extend this particular line. So with A as the particular point, you know the VR1, you cut the point. So you will get the intersection point. So the methodology may change, but how we are going to get the velocity triangle, this is the procedure. So you have to take the velocity to the scale. So 10 mm or 1 centimeter is equal to 50 meters per second. And how many number of divisions are there in your graphic? You should visually take that. So 10 divisions is equal to 1 centimeter. Or if I got a bigger graphic, you can take 5 divisions is equal to 1 centimeter. Whatever may be that particular scale, you can go and you can draw it. Is that clear? Any clarifications you need? You can unmute and you can speak. If not, I think we'll move to the next problem. We'll take up the next problem, second problem. Is that clear? Okay, fine. One assignment what I want to do is actually, I want you people to, so whatever the second problem I want to draw actually, that you try to get as an homework or something, try to draw using the graphical method. Try to get the same values using the graphical method. Whatever I'm going to do using your trigonometric principles, the same thing try to obtain the values using the graphical method. Okay, let's move to problem number 2. Okay, so problem number 2 is something like this. A D-level steam turbine receives steam at a pressure of 10 bar. It is dry and saturated, and exhausts at 1 bar. Okay, there are 4 nozzles, each of which are inclined at 20 degree to the plane of wheel. The average peripheral velocity of the blade are 450 meters per second. Calculate the blade angles for the blade. They assume that the inlet and outlet angles are the same. Okay. Then, if the area of the throat at the nozzle is 0.24 meters square, calculate the power developed by the turbine. Okay. This is the problem statement what they are given. So let's try to find the solution for it. So solution. So what is given? So they are given the inlet pressure, that is P1 is equal to 10 bar. So they have given the exit pressure, which is 1 bar, and they have given the number of nozzles. Let me call that as some M or N or whatever it may be. Then alpha 1 is equal to 20 degrees. Then they have given the peripheral velocity, that is U, that is 450 meters per second. What you are supposed to find? The first thing is we are supposed to find beta 1 and beta 2. Okay, this is the thing. Then the second thing what I am supposed to find, this is your first thing. The second thing I am supposed to find your power. They are given the throat area. So the throat area they given it as 0.24 meter square. With that actually I need to find it. So here let us try to draw the HS diagram and try to understand what will happen. Okay. Now if I try to draw a HS diagram is something like what you have studied in your thermodynamics. Okay. Let us try to draw the HS diagram. Okay, this is your enthalpy, entropy diagram. Whenever we are trying to draw the HS diagram, I need to draw the dome for a steam because this is for a pure substance. So I need to draw the dome. What does this dome represents? The dome represents the saturation point. Then I do have what is called as your pressure lines, constant pressure lines. Okay. Say if I try to look into this particular thing, this is my P1 and this is my P2. So if I call this as P1 high pressure, this is my P2. So they are all diverging, they are not parallel. Okay. Now the steam is expanding from the point 1. So it is dry saturated. That means this is the point. I call this as 1. Suppose if it's expanding isentropically, it will drop something like this. It's a vertical line. Okay. It will be simply a vertical line. Okay. So this is simply a vertical line to your, this, if I call this as 2. Okay. This is actually, if I call this as 2S or 2 entropy, that is 2 isentropic. But we know that because of the friction, it can't go in isentropic. It may take some other deviation. So it may take, the actual expansion will be always something like this. Okay, this will be my actual expansion, that is 2. So now if I try to draw the enthalpies actually, if suppose if I try to draw a vertical line, so this will be my H1, this will be my H2S, that is isentropic drop, or H2 dash or whatever it may be. So if I take 2 dash or 2S doesn't matter. So all are same. If we take it as 2 dash actually, so then H2 dash and 2 dash. So this will be your actual enthalpy, which is your H2. Okay. Now, so this being an isentropic expansion, if it is an isentropic expansion, what we are supposed to do actually, you have to see, this problem can be solved in a particular way, where I can go to your steam tables and get the value of it. So if you have a steam table, go to your steam tables for a pressure of 10 bar and dry saturated, note down the value of H1. Okay, then it's exactly, see, the same thing at a pressure, see, it is completely wet. Okay, so enthalpy drop, I need to calculate it. Okay, enthalpy drop you are supposed to calculate. So I will give that value. What I want is I want you people to go and cross check that value. Okay, if it is an assuming isentropic expansion, okay, assuming isentropic expansion. If it's assuming an isentropic expansion, what will be your delta H? Your delta H is equal to H1 minus H2 dash. So I'll give this value. What I want is, I want you people to go and cross check this particular thing. Either you can use Mollier chart or you can use your steam tables. So use either of it I'll give this value. This value, please cross check. This should be in and around 380 kilojoules per kg. Please check this value from your steam tables or your Moliere chart. I'm giving this value. I'm giving a homework for you. Please go and cross check this value. Okay. Now, once we have this, I can find the velocity of the steam. Velocity of the steam. So velocity of the steam, actually, this we are getting from your steady flow energy equation. Go back and see, that's where the velocity of the steam, actually, it depends on your enthalpy transfer. So V1 square minus V2 square. So you go back and see that from the SFE equation. From the SFE equation, actually, I can get my V1 is equal to 44.72 into your H1, okay, minus H2 dash or delta H. This 44.72 comes from your steady flow energy equation formula. You go on that also. So I don't want to repeat the same thing what you have studied in a basic thermodynamics. Go back and check that this value number you're going to get. How did you get a 44.72? You have that answer for that. 2g square root, all those things, if you put it in, you will get it. Okay. Now, if I try to substitute it, this is my V1, which is 44.72 into 380. This is in kilojoules actually. So I have to substitute in terms of joules. 380 in 10 to the power of 3. I will get my V1 as 876 roughly around meters per second. Okay, this is how you can get. See here in this particular problem, they are not given V1. In the previous problem, V1 was given. So here I am trying to bring this value of V1 or calculate the value of V1 based on your expansion of the steam in that particular nozzle or whatever it means. Okay, in that particular thing. So the nozzles, how it is expanded. So this is from the nozzle, this particular expansion, SFE is from the nozzle expansion. From the steady flow energy equation, I can get it. So this value may change. See, 380 is what I have got. So if you may be solving this particular, it may be in around 382 or 384 something. So this value should be in and around 380 delta H. So based on your V1 also, it need not be exactly what I have calculated. If you are doing it actually maybe at your home using the steam tables, it should be in and around 870 or 870 to 880. So that should be your number based on you solving from your Moliere chart or you are using your steam tables. Okay. So here, so one particular thing we need to do it here. So in the previous problem, we had a friction factor which was 0.9 times. That is VR2 was 0.9 times of VR1. Now, you have two options in this particular problem. Either I can assume the value of K or something as 0.9, or I can take with no friction VR1 is equal to VR2. So with that assumption, I can do it actually. So what I will do actually, in the previous problem it was 0.9. Here I will make a simple assumption. So assumption I'm going to make. This is an assumption, that's it. You can make it as 0.9 also, doesn't matter. So what is the assumption I'm going to make? Assumption I'm going to make that for no friction condition. Now for no friction condition, your VR1 is equal to VR2. That's an assumption I'm making. Or if you are assuming the value of K to be 0.9, then VR2 will be 0.9 times of the VR1. Now, let us try to draw the combined velocity triangle. So, here, so let's try to draw it, then we'll try to solve one by one. So, I'm going to put this as your U, then I have your V1, this is my V1, this direction, this is my alpha 1, so this is my R1. Okay, I'm going to close the triangle with the VF1, then this will be my VW1. So this is my VF1, this is my VW1. If I want name, I can name it this as A, B, C, D. Okay. Now for the exit velocity triangle, I will just assume that VR1 is equal to VR2. Okay, just I will go here. This is my VR2. Okay, then close with V2. So this is my V2. Okay, then complete the triangle by drawing the VW2 and your VF2. So this is my VF2 and this is my VW2. So let me draw the, this is your alpha 2, this is my beta 1, this is my beta 2. I am able to draw the velocity triangle. So in this is the direction for VW1, this is the direction for VW2. So I'll go with this particular thing. If I call this as x is equal to VW1 minus u. So because this is my u, so same, so all those things what we have done in the previous problem, same thing will hold good here. So now let us try to consider the inlet velocity triangle. So let's go with, not with the graphical method, if people have to try at home, let's try to solve this problem using your trigonometric principles. So from the inlet velocity triangle, from the inlet velocity triangle, what we have, look at this. What is your cos alpha 1? Cos alpha 1 is equal to VW1 by V1, or VW1 is equal to V1 cos alpha. So from the inlet velocity triangle, I can write cos alpha 1 is equal to VW1 by V1, or VW1 is equal to V1 cos alpha 1. So V1 is, I am getting around, see, I calculate it as 876 into cos 20. If I do that from the calculator, I am getting this as 823 meters per second. Okay. Now, once you find this VW1, similarly I can find VF1 actually. So what is it actually? Sin alpha 1 is equal to VF1 by V1, or VF1 is equal to V1 sin alpha 1, which is 876 into sin 20. I am getting around 299.61 or 300 meters per second roughly. So I got my VW1, I got my VF1. So from the same inlet velocity triangle, what is your tan beta 1? Tan beta 1 is equal to VF1 divided by VW1 minus U. Okay. So from that particular thing, I know the value of VW1, I know the value of U. So U was given as 450 in the numerical. So VF1 just now we found it. I can find the value of beta 1. Okay. I can find the value of beta 1. So tan beta 1 is equal to VF1 divided by VW1 minus U. Or I can write beta 1 is equal to tan inverse of VF1 divided by VW1 minus U. Let us substitute all the values and find the value of beta 1. So VF1 just now you calculated, which is 299.61 divided by VW1 is 823 minus 450. So if I try to calculate, I am getting around 38.77, or I can call it as 39 degrees. See, if you go back and see here, they are given a statement in the numerical statement. Okay, the blade angles, assume the inlet and exit blade angles are the same. That means if you calculate beta 1, beta 2 is also equal to same value. That is the meaning of it. Beta 1 and beta 2 are the same. That is, beta 1 is equal to 39 degrees. Therefore, beta 2 is equal to beta 1, which is also is equal to 39 degrees. So I am able to calculate the first one, blade angles. So other than this, what I am supposed to find now? I need to find the power. If I want to find the power, I need the whirl velocities. I need the whirl velocities. I need the mass flow rate. See, mass flow rate is not given in this numerical, but they have given the, they have given the area. They are given the area which is 0.84 and I know the value of velocity, but I how to find the density of it? Because mass flow, see, if you want to find it, what is the formula for the mass flow rate? See, mass flow rate is given by, see, mass flow rate is m dot is equal to rho a into velocity. So here velocity is your Vf. So area of the flow they given as 0.24 meters square. Okay. Now how to find the A density? Now look at this. This is for the steam. Okay. Now what I'm supposed to do actually, you have to go to your steam tables. Go to your steam tables. So from the steam tables, from the steam tables, at the pressure P1 is equal to 10 bar. And what type of steam it is actually? It is dry saturated. So you go and check the specific volume of dry saturated, which will become your specific volume at 1. So if I look at it, it is around 0.19435 meter cube per kg. Okay. Now, so what is this roughly? So roughly around 0.194 is 0.2. So now how the density is calculated? So density at 1 is equal to 1 upon your V1. So I may be getting around roughly 5.15 kg per meter cube. So this is the density. This is the density of the steam. So if I want to find the mass flow rate actually, so the mass flow rate is equal to rho is 5.15. What is your area of the flow? Which is 0.24 meters per second. What is your velocity of the flow? At inlet it is 299.61. If I do that, I am going to get my mass flow rate actually, which is 369.98 or roughly around 370 kg per second. This is how you are supposed to calculate. So density, if this would have been air, I don't use the PV is equal to MRT constant, that equation. If I use the, I that so steam tables, note down the value of the specific volume. If it is superheated, I should have looked into superheated table. So here in this problem statement, it is a dry saturated. I am taking the value of the dry saturated steam specific volume. So that's the difference. So if it is superheated, they will tell that what is the value. So superheated steam at a particular pressure, at a particular temperature, whether 400 degrees or 450 degrees, you have to go to the particular superheated steam tables actually. Then from the steam tables, you should able to take the value. Is that clear? Fine. Now once you calculate your mass flow, once you have the mass flow rate, I need to calculate the corresponding VW1 and VW2. So what I will do actually, I will go to your velocity triangle. See, VW1 just now we found. I need to find your VW2. So from the exit velocity triangle or from the outlet velocity triangle, from the outlet velocity triangle, So what it is actually, if you go and see here, what is your tan beta 2? Tan beta 2 is because beta 1 is equal to beta 2. I know the value of beta 2. So tan beta 2 is equal to your opposite side, which is Vf2 divided by your Vw2 plus U. So from this U value, you know, beta 2 value I know the value of Vf2. One is the unknown is Vw2. I can find Vw2. Okay. Now let me go and find that value. So from the outlet velocity triangle, tan beta 2 is equal to Vf2 divided by Vw2 plus U. Okay. Now let's substitute it. Actually, it is tan 38.77 if you want to be accurate, or if you can substitute tan 39 also. 299.61 as my Vf2. So Vw2 I don't know, and U value is 450 meters per second. If I substitute everything, I am getting this value as Vw2 is equal to minus 77.72 meters per second. Look at this. Yesterday I was telling you that if it is positive value, whatever the velocity triangle what you have drawn is correct. Now this being a negative value, I have to change the velocity triangle. this particular thing. So what are this particular thing? So my velocity triangle for this condition will look something like this. So you have the inlet velocity triangle will be like this. Okay, it will be like this, inlet velocity triangle. This will be my V1, this will be my VR1. Now, what will happen this side? So I told that this will be the other side of it. VW1 and VW2 both are in the same direction. So here what will happen? This particular triangle will become smaller. Look at this. This will become something like this. Your velocity triangle will look something like this. Your velocity triangle will look. So this will be my VR2. This will be my V2. Now if I try to look into this particular velocity triangle, this will be my VF2. So this will be my VW2. So VW2 and your, so this is my V1, VF1, this is my VW1. Both are in the same direction. VW1 is still this particular point. VW1 is up to this particular point. VW1 up to this particular point. So now look at this. Your VW1 is in this direction. Your VW2 is also in the same direction. Now you got it? So my velocity triangle, what I have written, that's just an assumption what I have written. Now based on the values, but if you do it graphically, your velocity triangle should look something like this. Because when you're drawing the velocity triangle in the graphical method, everything you're drawing to the scale, exact values. But what we are trying to draw is, initially we'll try to do it and based on the trigonometric principles, we'll try to calculate. So then we'll try to make the adjustment to your velocity triangle, we'll redraw it. Now for this condition, my velocity triangle, what you're supposed to get from your graphical method should look something like this. It should be something like this. Please try that and cross check the values. So maybe in the second decimal, first decimal, the values has to change. Now once you got this VW2, so I should be able to find your work done. So specific work. So once you got this, so specific work is equal to, that is what is specific work? W by M. So what is the formula? W by M is equal to VW1 minus VW2 into your U. So look at this, I am retaining the vector of VW2 as minus because it is in the same direction. If it would have been opposite direction, this VW2 would have been plus. So VW1 minus VW2. So that value remains the same. So what I'm going to do actually, if I substitute, this value is 823 minus 77.72 into 450. So this is my W by N. If I try to calculate, I'm getting around 335.37 kilojoules per kg. So what is the power actually? If I want to calculate the power, so the power is given by, so the power P is equal to mass flow rate into your specific work. So just now we calculated the mass flow rate is 369.98 or 370 into 335.37. If I do that, I am getting around 12.4 megawatts of power is developed from this particular steam turbine. So that's how you are supposed to calculate. Fine, is that clear?